Kathy, finally. Whew, that was tough. I have no idea what went wrong. I checked everything to see, did I do something wrong? I can't figure it out. So I'm not going to worry about it. But anyway, I apologize for keeping you waiting. I was so excited for us to start back with our wonderful Art Quilt Thursday. So I'm going to give you a chance. Hi, Kathy. I'm going to give everybody a chance to figure out where the heck I am. And it is so good to see you, Kathy. I'm excited because we're starting a new project tonight, and I can't wait to start it with you. All right. Well, let me set things up while we're waiting for people to come in. And I wonder if they'll be able to find out where we are. But I'm not sure. So let me straighten up my desk area here because I got a little spastic waiting to figure out how to get on here. Hold on just a second. I'll be right there. I sure hope everybody can find their way in because I would miss them terribly if not. All right. So we're going to start a new project. You know what? Let me see. I wonder if I can copy this title and put it in our site. So hold on because Kathy, you're the only one that's figured out how to come in. So let me see, sweetie pie. I'm going to go to our groups IO and tell people that that's where we are. Okay. New topic. Here we go. All right. I sent it. I hope it helps. We'll see. But let's give them a chance. All right, then. So it is so good to be back here again. And I am worried because Kathy's the only one. So let me go make sure I don't have another stream running. Hold on 1 second. Hold on just a second, please. And this is a whole new world. Yes, I have another one running. I hope, let me see. Okay. So, you know what? It might be okay. Let me delete forever. Okay. I hope I have it. Okay, so now let me come back to my screen. Okay, there you all here. People are coming in. Thank you so much. I really looked because, I'm starting to become a little more savvy about how this works. I could not find anything that I did wrong, so I'm just not sure. But I apologize because I was here right at 7:30, anxious to come on because we're going to start a new project. The new project that we're going to start today is going to be called Curvy Spaces, okay? And we're going to do it a couple different ways. But hi, Barbara Smith. Hi, Rose. It just appeared. It disappeared. That's how my brother used to say it. Disappeared. Yeah, server error. That's what happened. I think I tried to convert a stream that I had set up because I wasn't going to do it last week. So that's the only thing that I can think of that might have been causing it to act up. But I'm so glad to see you. I wish I could show you my room. I have been working. Today is the third day on cleaning up my room. And while people are I miss y'all too. Thank you, Miss Barbara. I thought while people are still finding us, I thought, hi, Miss Polly. I tell you how this room was a mess. 4 months worth of not having time to get it fully clean. Because I had started cleaning my desk few weeks ago and then ran out of time for that. What I decided to do, if any of you are like me and you get overwhelmed with the thought of starting, once I get going, I'm fine. But it's just walking into the room and knowing I've got to face it. So I got clothes baskets and I took all of my fabric and dumped it in a clothes basket. From there, I went to the counter to sort it by color because that's how I store it. And it's a lot of work. And a lot of, I use the mini comic boards, which I just scared myself. I bumped the computer and I thought I was going to turn it off. I store my fabric on these mini comic boards. In fact, I keep hitting that computer. I better be careful. But I store my fabric like this. Then I put them in baskets on the shelf. So when I get into my zone of creating, it's like if you've ever seen a cartoon where somebody is just throwing stuff around and making a huge mess. And so I had to end up with some of them re-ironing the fabric, straightening it back out, I use these jumbo paper clips to pin it onto the comic board. Ooh, good news about comic boards. They do have it back again at Connecting Threads, but it's $19 and I hoped they were going to have a sale and I haven't seen one yet. So what I did is I went on Amazon and I said, okay, focus and look. I found some comic boards on Amazon for $11, maybe $11.99, but no shipping. And the problem with getting comic boards is they're heavy. If you pay for shipping, it's going to be $7 or $8. So as long as, the Amazon 25 and over, no shipping. So I'm very excited. I'm going to tell you, you buy poster board? See, I love that. That's perfect, Barbara. Perfect. And yes, it's very easy to find. Having the baskets and having it separated by color on the shelves. And it's also, if I can just make myself do it, it's easy to put the fabric back where it belongs. But, that's the hard part. Foam board. Oh, that's a good idea because then it would really last. You got yours at Amazon. Good job. So I ordered some more of the large paper clips. And then I ordered some more comic boards. Should be here in about a week. And then I'll tell you a secret. I wasn't going to mention this until Sunday. But since y'all are such a special group, I'll tell you now. I'm thinking about doing some indigo dyeing. I mean, real indigo dyeing. I've done some research and you can get, what is it called? It's a partially like broken down or ready, because normal indigo you would have to mix with lye and all that. Well, this is partially there. And so I'm so excited because, if I do it, I'm going to show all of it to you. But there's a woman called The Last Homely House. And she did the indigo dyeing and it just caught my breath. It was one of those moments where I have to do that. Not that I want to do that. Hi, Miss Mary. It was, I have to do that. So, of course, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to take you guys along with me. And who knows, if I manage to dye enough, maybe I can sell like charm packs of it. Because it's beautiful and magical. When you pull it out of the dye bath and it's green, and then the next thing you can watch it turn bold and blue right in front of your eyes. Ooh, baby. So anyway, but I'll tell you more about that Sunday. But I was thinking, since I'm putting in an order at Amazon, I could put in an order for some reduced or something like that indigo. So, then I'm going to need some more prepared for dyeing fabric. I mean, it's just one thing after another. The good news, I've got plenty of soda ash for it. So I've got to get a container that you keep airtight, because how indigo works, it's oxygen activated. So anyway, all right. So I've got a couple things, like I'm thinking of doing a Jitsi. In fact, I'm planning on doing a Jitsi Saturday morning starting at 10 a.m. And I'm going to put these on our website. This pattern right here is going to be an Easter decoration, an easy, fun Easter decoration. Now, you've got to make a few of them. And if you don't belong to our not Yahoo group, our groups.io, then send me an email to OurTimeToQuilt, and I'll send you at twc.com, and I will send you the pattern for free, and you will make, I think, 9 or 12 copies. I'll have to let you know. But anyway, so you're going to make copies of this, and then get yourself some Easter color fabrics. Okay, here is a bag of just little pieces of Easter color fabrics. I tell you what I'm going to do too. I will put this pattern up on our group tonight. So if you want to have fun with me Saturday morning, we will get this done pretty quickly. If you want to have fun with me Saturday morning, then go ahead and print yourself out about 9 or 10 copies just to make sure. Okay, I think 9 is right. Okay, but I will put this on the site. I did even a light pastel color one. That color is not showing up. It's showing up a little. Not every color showed up. But anyway, you get the idea. Just some nice, pretty scraps of Easter colors. Meet me. I will send out. In fact, if you're not on our group, hi, Angela King. I'm so tickled you found us. And I've got the Our Time to Quilt email. If you're not on our group and you need the Jitsi link, then just send me an email to ourtimetoquilt@twc.com, and I will send you a Jitsi link. And I thought, let's have a couple hours of fun, because I've missed y'all so much. So I will make sure to get these patterns out. It's paper piecing. Easy, easy, easy peasy. Just get your little fabrics ready, and we are going to have a ton of fun. So find your Easter color, and it truly is going to be a fun, easy Easter project. Okay, I promise. So, all right. Yep, just make sure you have our email address, and I'll send you the pattern so you can make your copies. Find your cute little fabric and spend about 2 hours with me Saturday, and I'll show you how easy it is to make a really cute Easter project, because Easter's coming up April 17th. So we've got time, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. So, in fact, I wonder if we could even do a quilt as you go. All you need to do, now see, my brain is thinking, yay, Deb, my brain is working. All you need to do is cut a piece of backing fabric the same size as this outer square, and pieces of batting, same size as this outer square. And then when you do the sewing, you'll be quilting it at the same time. Okay? So I'll see you Saturday morning. If you don't belong to our group, send me an email, because I see some new names. I'd love for you to participate with us. We will have it does look like a crazy quilt, but it's not going to be a quilt. It's going to be something for Easter. All right. So now, it's so nice to be back. And what was that slap about? You know what I'm talking about, the Oscar slap. And I'm sorry, but I think there has to be a punishment for that. That was out of line. And we all learned in kindergarten, don't hit people. That's all I'm going to say, especially if you're way bigger than them. And I truly believe he did not think he was insulting her. He didn't know. I really believe, maybe I'm wrong, but I believe he didn't know of her hair condition. And honestly, didn't she look fabulous? I mean, wow. If I've got a big old bowling ball head, but if I look like her, I would shave my head too. And I'm not meaning to make any fun of it, because when you want to have hair and you can't, that's really hard. I should know. I'm getting very thin up top. But anyway, but she is gorgeous, gorgeous. Okay. That could still happen. When I heard that Chris Rock said he's still processing, I thought, oops. So be careful. I love what Denzel Washington said to him, because evidently Tyler Perry and Denzel Washington came right up to him after this to calm him down. And he said, you think he did know? Oh, boy, that's not good. Yeah, if he did know, that's not good. Hi, Carol. Well, I tell you what Denzel said is be careful. When you get to your highest, when you get to be your biggest, that's when the devil comes. And I thought, yeah, the slap is never necessary. You're right. Well, you saw when he came walking up to him, poor Chris Rock was leaning forward like, hey, bud, and it's like, whoa. So anyway, that disappointed me, because I've always loved Will Smith, but now I'm having second thoughts. Okay, let's show you what we're thinking of. And what we're going to get ready to do for our Thursday nights is we're going to do improv quilts, okay? And you know how we did a couple months ago, we did the unusual varied backgrounds with the artwork on front. This time, we're going to do curvy improv. And I'm trying to think of ways that I'm going to go with this. And there's two different ways. Where I'm going to teach you how to make curvy strip sets. Easy as pie. I've been so busy this week. Gene Wells has the best, hands down, the best, several of them, YouTube videos on curve piecing improv. Rob Appell has a couple good ones. A woman named Rachel Durston had a good one. Ricky Timms even does a little bit of this with his, I forgot what it's called, when he does the strips and mixes them up and conversion, something like that. And but he even talks about that. So there are lots of really good videos on YouTube. Type in curved improv, curvy improv, improv, whatever, and it's exciting. So, yeah, that's true. That is true. You're so right, Carol. Jody is here. Hi, sweetie. Minnie's here. Debbie's here. Oh, my gosh. It's so good to see all of you. Yeah, the thing is, women can stand up for themselves, number one. Number two, hitting is never a good thing. I mean, if somebody gives you a hard time, you have to hit back, but you should never hit first. That's for sure. But it just ruined the evening. It ruined the evening for the winners that came after. It even ruined the evening for him. So, but I was like, I turned past it, and Mark had already gone to sleep, and I came in and said, hon, you won't believe what just happened on the Oscars. So anyway, all right. let me talk to you a few things about curved piecing, and then I'll show you what I've got. All right. The pieces that you're working on that you make, that you cut curved and you sew curved, they're called strata. Okay, so just so you'll know, the piece you're working on is called strata. Then when you are working on this, please make sure to have a sharp rotary cutter, okay, nice and sharp. And you may even wish to use one of these 28 millimeter rotary cutters so that you can easily see what you're doing. It's up to you. I would start with the 45 degree, then see what they're doing. So, okay. Then this, I bought this years ago, have never used it. But if you ever were going to use an interesting small rotary cutter, this is the time. But whatever rotary cutter you use, please, 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 make sure that it is very sharp. Put a new blade in it, whatever. And I hope I followed that. I got out 2 of them because I said, I don't know which one has a new blade in it. All right. So then Miss Wells, Jean Wells, who is amazing, so talented, says my cutting board is sliding under the desk. Let me stick it up here because you know me, I get so distracted I can't concentrate if it's sliding under. But she says cut standing up. Now, I have a bad back, so it's hard for me to cut standing up, but she has a point. If you're doing strata longer than 12 inches, the further out you start cutting, the less, hi, Marcia, you're here, the less pressure you can exert. So that is a problem. So you might want to cut standing up. All right. Now, I will show you how you sew them. You have to use a two-handed method. You don't pin. People always think you pin curve piecing, but you don't. Rob Appell gave the best advice. He said, when you start to cut your curve, cut a straight inch first. And it was brilliant because if you start right away on a curve and you're trying to match these two pieces up, it is so hard to get going. But if the first inch is straight, you can get going nice solid footing before you have to start moving the fabrics, because you'll see what I mean when I show you. So thank you, Rob. Now, feel free at any point to notch your edges, to mark them so that you can line it up. So I'll show you when you cut it out and you've got them right there together. It's a good time if you would feel more comfortable just making a chalk mark or something. And that way, when you're sewing the curves together, you can tell if you're staying in line. But I'm so excited because I have loved, what is her name? Is it Carol Fowler? Briart Fowler? Now I've got her name all confused. But I love all her swirls. And I thought, this is a way for me to tiptoe into that amazing world of curving pieces. A chalk pencil. You have a chalk pencil or a regular pencil handy to mark your curved lines. I'm going to show you that. Everyone thinks anytime you want to make a curve, put two pieces of fabric together, cut them at the same time, open them up, and there you go. One thing Jean Wells said, that uses and wastes a lot of fabric, because she said you probably aren't going to want to use the same curve over and over. And if you think about it, if you put one piece of fabric on top of the other and you cut the curve, you're left with 4 curved pieces. So you'd have 2 cuts of the same one. And you know, I don't know if I want to waste fabric. So we're going to work on this. Also, make sure that your background fabric really shows off your curved piecing. Miss Wells talked about how that once she put her curved piecing on one kind of fabric and it just looked awful. So she changed to, in fact, she had a lot of blue and yellow and stuff. And when she put it on her first piece, it looked terrible. Then she found putting it on a nice bright blue was all the difference. And that brings me to another thing she said. You know that complementary colors are opposite on the color wheel. Red and green, blue and orange, yellow and purple. So they're opposite, and they always look good together. They're amazing. But she said, just remember when you use a complementary color scheme, you could try to use a drop of glue, yeah, but just wait and watch, and you'll be surprised. And but she said that when you use a complementary color scheme, one of the two always has to have the lead. So if you try to match them, 50% this, 50%, it's not going to look right. So pick which one you want to have more of, and they can take the lead, and then it'll just look right to your eyes. All right. She also said you have to work with the colors to really know if they're going to turn out okay. You can think in your mind, oh, this would be perfect, until you actually do. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is so that you won't stress. If you start working on your curvy improv and it's just not working, change something up. Because if you continue with something you don't like, you won't finish it, or you won't quilt it. It'll be a waste of your time. So let's just change things up. You can do this. Now, let's see. Also, Jean said in one of the points that she was trying so hard and she ended up cutting it either too narrow or too wide, and it was so frustrating. She said there are times you just have to let it be what it wants to be. And that is true with most things in life. Sometimes you have to stop fighting and just say, it wants to do this. I'm going to let it do this. So, okay. When your curves, for this first project, we're not going to try to make some wild curves, okay? The deeper the curve, the harder it is to sew. And then you would have to start snipping. Have you ever put a shoulder seam in a blouse? When the curve is too deep, you have to snip. If you are doing a quilt and you've got a curve that's 1/4 of an inch, you have to snip at least 1/8 of an inch. And that's tricky. But anytime, if you're having too much of a problem getting it to lay flat, it's a little too curvy, then just snip the seam allowance on that curve and it'll help it relax. Also, understand that fabric is a moving, stretching, compliant material. Very different than paper or cardboard or wood. And when you cut on a curve, the curve becomes a bias. And that means it becomes, even if it's just a small curve, anything off the straight or the crosswise grain is biased. So relax, take a deep breath. The fabric will help you. All right, now let's see. Some people like to draw out their designs beforehand. Some want to do them totally on the fly. It depends on what you want to do. All right. And like I told you, if you just put two fabrics right sides together and start cutting curves, you're wasting fabric because you're going to have the same curve twice. And I don't think you'd want that. But it's up to you. You can do just what you want. All right. Then save your little leftover pieces of the strata. Miss Wells saves them and turns them into what she calls jewels. Jewels are like little pieces of crumb quilting that you put together. And you can just place them at the end of one row before the next curve piecing row starts. So don't throw away your little scraps of these strata. Now, she says when she does these, she limits herself to 6 colors because she feels like it can get too busy otherwise. I've I've gotten more fabric than that ready, but I'm probably not going to use more than 6 in any one block or strip. All right, let's see. Now, and then if the project that I want to work on, I will be setting a circle into the background, not appliquing it on, setting it in. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Mr. Ricky Timms taught me that. Oh, here we are. If you would like a free pattern from Miss Breyer, oh gosh, anyway, let me give you this email address, and she's offering a free pattern. Briar Patch. I always get her name confused. I am so sorry. Briar Patch. Oops, come on. Let me pull this up forward. Sorry. .com /images /quilt records quilt records /flying. I should have just brought it up and copied it. Flying, then an /. Whoops, no, back up. And then /. Okay. I'm going to show you. We're going to start it together. And I do have some pictures. Okay. Let me bring this up. It is making me crazy. It's just making me crazy. So, okay. All right, over here. This is the easiest. Briarpatch.com /images /quilt records /flying. Oops, that was not flying. I'm not sure what that was. Flying, and then bottom /free one. Goodness gracious. / Oh, I should have had this ready for y'all. Sorry about that. All right. I think I've got it. Let's see. Yay! Okay. So here I've got it. Let me copy and paste it for you. It will be a whole lot easier. All right. And I just think it's, when I was looking around for all this, I was amazed at all the stuff I found. How wonderful are we? Or how lucky are we? How wonderful are the ladies who put all this stuff up? Okay. You don't need any template and no ruler. That's the best part. So let me real quickly show you. Let me show you some of, every time I start a new project, I start saving images and ideas. Okay, here we go. Let me turn this light off so it doesn't affect the camera. All right, let me turn this off. But every time I saw something beautiful, I just saved it. So, one of the books, Miss Jean Wells offers this book. You can purchase it on Amazon for $24 and some cents. and it's called Intuitive Color and Design, Adventures in Art Quilting. This is the second edition. Okay, then I just love some of the things you can do with the Curvy Line Improv. Isn't this amazing? Let's see what else. Oh, this is pretty. Now, this is not curvy. It's kind of an improv, but I thought you could do this curvy. You just have to put curvy strips together. And some people, you could either make enough curvy strips and then cut it out, or some people do curvy in between with a straight edge to join another straight edge, then curvy, then straight, then curvy, So there's all kinds of ways to figure out, how can I do this? I thought this one was really interesting. It's not curvy, but I love the look, what you can do when you make strip sets. Now look at this one. Is this gorgeous or what? That is so beautiful. So there's all kinds of things. Then look what you can do with a landscape. For whatever reason, it's not allowing me to increase the size of my picture. I apologize. But look at that wonderful ocean. So if you learn how to do this curved piecing, you'll be able to do your ocean landscapes much better. Okay, here is another form of the sun rays. I just think it would be gorgeous if you did it in curvy strip sets. You could make your strip sets, then cut them curvy and match them, and around you go. All right. Let me see. Here's another. Look at this beautiful sky from a landscape with the curvy improv. And it's what you make it. You can draw it out ahead, or you can just work on it as you go. You can take your curvy pieces and you can cut them into different size squares or rectangles. Or here is one of those little jewels like Jean Wells talks about, where it was the little bitty edge of one of her strip sets. So that's awesome. Then look at this wonderful pillow. But don't the curves just look fascinating? And they give you another way of doing things. Now, I saw this quilt and a light went off in my head. And this it only has the curved piecing, like in these blocks. So I have actually made some paper templates for you if you wanted to do it this way. And what I'm thinking is doing this reminds me of an outer space quilt. I'm not sure what I think of all the squares, but then I love this so much that I probably do love how the circle bounces off the squares and all of that. So those are the inspirations that I saved. And let me see if this here we go. So I'm not sure where I found this, but these are her thoughts and some of the directions on making this work. But here it is right here. And it is absolutely beautiful. I'm trying to think of how. No. I wanted to make it bigger, but I'm not sure. Here we go. I think this. Whoops. Come on there. Let me make it a wee bit bigger. But isn't that pretty? And that pattern that I gave you the link for makes that quilt. So, and her name is Carol Breyer. And now I forgot her new last name, because this is an older pattern. But you know who I'm talking about, I do hope. And Breyer, I'm going to stop because I'm just going to make it worse. I'm the kind of person that I'm awful with names, but I never forget a face. It's just who I am. Sorry about that. So anyway, does that give you some ideas? And then, oh, I meant to show you my EQ8 screen. So let me just try to hold this up for you. See that? I even thought, we could work that way if you want it to be a little easier. And so I have these patterns that are available too. And so here is the block. Then I have it as templates because that's the easiest way. So here is the concave template, and here is the convex template. So feel free to ask me for the curved square template at ourtimetoquilt@twc.com. And I will be glad to send you that too. All right, so let me close this out. I don't know what I would do without EQ8 now. I don't fully know how to use it, but what I do know how to do, I use a lot. All right, so I'm back here with y'all. All right, so now, if you wanted to put your curvy area in a square, and how you would do this is you would make curvy strip sets, and then you would just put your template on, decide how you want it to move. And now this is a template on white paper, but what I would do is get some kind of template plastic and take and cut out the paper, place it on your template plastic, draw around it with a permanent marker, and then cut it out. And that way you can lay your template on your curvy strip set and get it exactly the way you want. All right, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you the fabric I chose and then show you how we're going to get these strip sets first worked with. All right, so what I did first, let me come up here and let me lean this down. Okay, and I want to thank Mark too for helping me get I had a hard time with the printer tonight. It was like nothing wanted to work right. And so he managed to see what I was trying to do and fixed it for me. I love what I did. Okay. If you look right here, this is the tub. Hey, I'm sorry. My door's open. They hear something. Hold on one second. Hush. Okay. A spray bottle works wonderful. All right. I got out my big container of space fabrics because that's why it's called Curvy Spaces, because I have an idea. I have this wonderful background of a space guy. Hi, Cheryl. Oh, that's right. You did have a retreat. That's wonderful, darling. Well, we're starting a brand new project. Look at this amazing fabric I found. And this would be an ombre across how many different color waves. Isn't this cool? So I got this for my space thoughts and space project. Now, what I did is I pulled off a strip. Here's my Jenny Buyer. Pulled off strips of fabric and then starched them. And I'm just thinking that starched fabrics might be a little easier to cut. And look at this ombre. Isn't that cool? So I just started pulling off strips. Now, the reason I have small strips of these, because depending on how it's cut, it's going to kind of blend in. So of those two, I didn't have as much. But look at this. It's got a little metallic in it. And then here we go. So we've got a couple different reds. And these came from my space landscape fabrics. Okay? So I've got to decide. I'm probably going to divide them in to groups. Like, well, let me see. As you can tell, I hadn't thought this out first. But, well, this will be able to go with either group. And that, let me see. Maybe this and this. Now, let's see. And then I can keep maybe this one together. Oh, yeah, I think that's good. And then I think these will go together. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 groups of 6. I like it. All right, so this one. And since I have this fabric that goes from pink to blue to green to purple to blue to green to light green to a little bit of an orangey to almost brown, this one can be used in different ones. So the first thing I'm going to do is do my first cut. Now this cut is going to be where I don't want this on the outside of the curvy piecing, because I wouldn't, if I do a quarter of a circle, I don't want this along the edge. It blends too much. So let me pick out maybe this one right here. And for the first cut, I am going to lay them right sides together. Okay? Let me see. Maybe this would be better. Okay, so I'm going to put these right sides together. And I have to decide how far down I want to make these. I'm not going to make them too far down because some of my pieces are a little shorter and I'm just not sure yet how it's all going to work. Now, I hope this one is a good blade. Let me see. So this starts at 20 inches. That sounds pretty good for me. So, oh, good blade. Yay. Okay. So now I've got these two 20-inch pieces. And, whoops, if one side's narrower than the other, then you have to have that at the side where you know where they meet. So since I'm left-handed, I'm going to lay them like this. I'm going to match it up. And I am not going to draw this out, okay? What I'm going to do is, like Rob Appell said, do a straight 1-inch piece. And then he said, come in holding the fabric this way so you're on the other side away from the direction your blade is moving, and just come on down. Okay, let me move this up. I mainly ran out of space. So start back up here. And you can see now why you need a sharp blade, because when you're cutting this little bit, it's hard. If you had a dull blade, it would be a mess. So now I threw that little bit away because that's just a waste. But watch what happens when you open the pieces. Wait a minute. Aren't they supposed to look like they fit? I think that I wasn't supposed to have right sides together. I think I wrote it down wrong, because it's supposed to fit in the beginning. So now, okay. So here we go. I don't want to waste this fabric. This is amazing fabric. So watch what I'm going to do. Thank goodness I watched everything I could on it. Because what we're going to do is we're going to lay this curve on top of the dark red. I could have sworn they said put the right sides together. That's what they said, but it doesn't work that way, because when you open them, they're supposed to fit perfectly. In fact, you know what? Look at this. Well, No, doesn't do it that way either. This is confusing me now, people. All right, let's try it again. So I'm going to lay this curve on top of this dark red because I know that my chalk will show up. Okay, here we go. So now I've got it just as little on the fabric, but meeting every point that I can. And I'm going to come along here and I'm going to draw a chalk line so I don't waste too much fabric. Okay. All right. Now, having drawn that line and it's showing, then I can come in and cut it out. And this way it will match. And that is one of the ways that Jean Wells tries to save fabric too. And I'll show you more of that. Okay, just very carefully. And make sure you can see where you are going. If your blade, and you can save this and do this as a little peekaboo strip in between other strips. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my curves. Now, there we go. That's what it's supposed to look like. Now, what I'm going to do, just because this is the first time I've ever, don't you like that tiny cutter? Oh, and that's good for nice tight curves. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do some registration marks. So right across here, I'm going to do some registration marks just to make sure that I'm on target. And you notice I didn't do any curves that were too sharp, because if I did, that's that much harder to put together. And I'm just a beginner on this. We are learning together. All right, so now I have registration points, okay? Now I'm going to put this together like that, take it to my sewing machine, and make sure I have the 1 inch mark. So you have, try to always have a 1 inch straightaway when you first start. Okay. Okay. What is that sound? Okay. So I'm going to start in here. All right. I'm going to start in, and what you want to do is you want to have one hand on one fabric and one hand on another fabric, and you kind of loosely move them. And I know this feels scary because we're used to having pins or something, but this is the best way to do this. And don't forget, I have registration marks along this. So here we go. I hear something. Hold on a second. What in the world? I don't know. I hear something like a motor's on. I don't know what that's about. All right, here we go. Just carefully moving it slowly, and you work it. Make sure that you keep the same seam allowance. I have no idea what's making that weird noise. Oh, well. Okay. All right. Oh, it just stopped. Oh, good. So I've got it on my 1/4 inch, and and then I look, and yep, my registration marks are working perfectly. And the hard part is getting used to keeping it lined up with your 1/4 inch, but keeping your edges even. and you don't pull. You notice how it's just very light, and you don't pull, like don't pull it down this way or anything. Just lay them on each other and work them gently back and forth. I'm not pulling this way. I'm going only back and forth to get them to line up. And if you watch the Jean Wells YouTube tutorial, she'll even show you how to put little accent strips, that kind of stripes that are there and then disappear and then there and disappear. She cuts them 3/4 of an inch, and then depending on how you sew it, you have just barely a little curve. Okay, I'm looking for my next registration point. All right, because see, don't try to think you know how they're going to end up at the bottom, because you won't. It's like, don't anticipate and try to stretch. Just let them do their thing. Just all you do is go like this, okay? So you notice how easy I'm touching it. And the trickiest thing is keeping 1/4 of an inch, an even 1/4 of an inch. I probably should put my blade foot on. Okay. And it looks like I ended pretty darn good. So now we're going to go back over to the ironing board. And I'm going to be very careful not to iron my cutting mat. I worried about that because I've got the mat. It's the same color as on this side is my ironing board cover. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is decide which way to iron the seam allowance. Do not iron the seam allowance open. You should always put it to one side. Now, when we put our next strip on, we're going to iron that seam allowance the opposite way. Okay, let me see. And you just very gently kind of use the point of your iron to kind of work it gently into the curves. Let me see if my iron, oh, it's barely heating up. I talked so long the iron went to sleep. I guess you could say I can put anything to sleep. Okay. So I'm letting it warm up. But are you ready? Because I know I've seen curved quilts and I've been afraid of them. But look at this. Isn't that pretty cool? So now I'm just going to press this one more time because this is my last chance to work on this. Now, what I'm going to do next is I don't want these this wide. So I'm going to come in and I'm just going to cut this the way I want it to be. Now that sounds scary, and you see we're not putting another piece of fabric on it. I'm just going to cut it. I'm going to decide how exactly, and you don't want to do a bunch of hourglasses, so don't just copy. Kind of make it unusual, like this. Whoops, don't run off the board onto your ironing board cover, or you'll, now look at that. Okay. Oh, thank you. I always forget to tell people to thumbs up. But is that cool? Now, we'll cut this one off later, too, because I don't want to waste this much fabric. But let me see. What color do I want next? It might be a good time to use this one. Let me see. Oh, right along here might be the best. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I lay this on here. Okay, just so, you have to look, where is the shortest point right here? You have to have at least an extra 1/4 of an inch there. Okay. So you just look under, then I'll come back in here with my tailor's chalk and I'll run it right down here. And this is mostly Gene Wells' method because it just felt good to me. But you can look and find anyone's method that you want. And like I said before, this might be a fun time. Let me see. Where is, hold on just a second. Let me try to use that fun little, let me try to use this fun little hand one. I'm hoping it's not like rusted or something because I've owned it for so many years, 10 years at least. Okay, so let's see how this works. I put my hand through it. All right, let's see. And it might be overkill because I think my 45 degree would probably work fine. But I had just heard Rob Appell said these things are great because you can just zip all around. All right. I think I am going to use my big one again. I have to get used to this one. I'm always worried I'm going to cut myself. So I don't know how to even put the lid back on. So I'll put it over there for now, well out of the way. Come back to this one. But once I get used to that one, I think that would be awesome. Okay, here we go. And don't forget, save your strips because you don't know what you're going to need them for. You can use them in different ways. All right, so here we are. Here's this one. And I can go ahead and trim it like that. And then I'm going to come back in and I'm going to make my registration points. And this way you can keep using nice thin strips and you decide, it just controls your fabric so much better. Because by doing it this way, you only get one piece that's exactly like that, which is probably what you want. I don't want to have just a repetition of a bunch. Whoops, that slid. Hold on. Okay. Now I'm going to pick these two up and sew those together. Well, I'm thinking that I can then cut some circles for like planets and put them on the space background. So that's kind of what I'm hoping. Let me bring this down. So here I go again. I've got a nice straight 1 inch. That just helps me to get this on the right track. So come put it under my foot. I hope the bobbin doesn't run out because it's all fun and games until the bobbin runs out. Oops, a little closer. All right, so, and as before, let's start the 1 inch before you even move your hands, okay? Now I start moving my hands and just gently, gently this way, this one underneath like this. And just gently move them. And don't, you can't be a speed demon on this one, because you're just letting the fabric get used to bending and molding on these curves. And that's the beauty of fabric, is it will try to work very hard with you. And then I'll check my registration marks every here and there just to make sure. But they don't have to be perfect because this is your improv. So don't try to get yourself too worked up and with perfection. This is Art Quilt Thursday. Perfection is for a different day of the week. This is for fun, trying out new things. All right, you just gently sew, gently. Keeping it at 1/4 of an inch, but now you can see why you don't want to pin it, because by being able to move it like this, you really are melding those edges together. You're letting the little bit of bias in that. Okay? And remember, don't even care about if the ends are going to end up even. All you're worried about is what's right in front of your needle, under your needle. And just keeping your fabrics straight. Okay? Just keep them together. When it comes down near the end, you just pull them together. And it's funny, this edge, they look like they were going to be 3/8 of an inch apart. But as you come around the curve, they almost pull even. So trust me, this is easy. Okay, let me come back over and iron this. And, okay, whoops. All right, now, remember last time we did the seam allowance this way. Then this one's going to go this way. And that's because some of these curves are going to be very narrow, and you don't want the seam allowances to be like right here, be on top of each other. That's too many layers of fabric. So I like to come in here. In fact, let me get my wooden iron, and I like to go ahead and gently encourage the fabric to do what I want it to do. Here we go. We both know when you cut a curve, make sure both fabrics face up, not right sides together. Boy, that was a blast, because it's what I normally do when I do regular piecing, but that's not what you do here. Okay, so now let me lean it up a little. I'm going to come over here and iron it. And making sure that these seam allowances go opposite ways, just so that it doesn't matter which way they go, just as long as they're opposite, so you don't have the fabric pooling up. And making sure you get that point and really working that fabric out along those curves. Okay. So here now, let's see what we've got so far. Isn't that cool? I mean, look how dramatic. You almost would think that I'm a talented quilter. Isn't that cool? Isn't that awesome? And then what I'll do is decide what color goes next. And I'm thinking maybe a nice good, oh, you see that? So this will be my next one. And unfortunately, it's getting a wee bit late, and Mark's waiting for me to eat dinner. So I better get going. And I'll decide, you decide how big do I want this curved area to be. Don't let this part fool you, because if you are going to use this pattern and you're going to have these curves, see how, whoops, hold on. Let me bring it down here. If you have this template, let me find the better. Yeah. You're going to have this template. You're going to probably lay it. Once you've got your 6 or 7 curved strips together, then you're going to lay your template on here. You see? So, put all of your fabrics, but don't have them too much wider than that. So I'm hoping this gets you a little started and excited about it. The next week we'll pick right back up and finish fleshing these curves out. But can you believe? Oh, absolutely. Oh, sure, because this was so easy. My ironing board was a piece of plywood, and I'll have to measure it and tell you it was so easy. And every year I recover it because, as you can see, I put a lot of use on it, and I love the Teflon cover. But anyway, do you see where this curvy piecing? Isn't that going to be fun? I mean, think of how exciting, depending on what fabrics you use. And don't forget, you can use, this is a great project for a jelly roll because you're probably not going to get any wider than 2.5 inches. So I'm excited about this. And this was so easy to sew. I hope you can see now. It was real, except for my mistake of putting right sides together. It's right sides up, both right sides up. Woo, I gotta, But you see how this method too of doing one strip at a time and drawing it takes a little extra time, but saves so much fabric. And I'm going to have distinct and different strip sets. Okay, that's why I'm cutting them 20 inches, and I can then take these same fabrics but put them in a different order. They'll have a different look. And then I have the other strip sets I haven't even touched yet. So I'm very excited. I hope that this is something you will like. And then we'll decide, once we make up the strip sets, then we decide, where do we want to go? Where do we want to go from there? Do we want to make a pillow? Do we want to make a space quilt? Do we want to cut them in squares and rectangles and turn them all different directions? Do we want to take and put the strip sets in, hold on. Do we want to put the strip sets in this curved shape? So, the sky's the limit. Once you learn how to do the strip sets, and you can do anything with them. So I recommend when you start cutting your strips, before you cut them in curves, it's really nice to have them starched because it gives them a little body and makes the cutting of the curves that much easier. So anyway, I do have this page of instructions where I took notes from all the different people that I learned from. And if you wish to have this, I can also send you this. It'll just give you some tips and hints to remember. So I will put this on the website. I will put this on the website. And I will put this on the website. And if you want any of these and you don't belong to our group yet, then just shoot me an email at whoops, I almost had it. Let me see. Hold on 1 second, guys. Okay. Whoops. Our time to quilt classes. Our time to quilt at twc.com. All right. Well, I better go get some dinner because tomorrow I have a doctor's appointment. And I'm already nervous that she's going to say something like, you haven't lost enough weight. And I think I'm just going to tell her I'm doing the best I can. A girl just got to give me some time. Don't you hate this? I hate that I'm afraid to go to the doctor. But I know that she's just concerned about me. And I know I need to do it. I got the top on, yay. But I might have to say, back off. No, she's a real sweetheart, but I do get nervous. I get all worked up. And then Sunday, I've got pictures for you and show you how my grandson's visit went. And it was wonderful. It was wonderful. So please take such good care of yourself. Thank you for joining me. Anybody that has been with us a couple times, if you're not a part of our group, send me an email to Our Time to Quilt and I'll get you signed up. All right. I will put on the site too. Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern time, or 11 if that's better for some of you who are mid or Western states. And we are going to do our Easter project, fun and easy Easter project, Saturday morning, okay? Jeannie, oh my gosh, how good. And Annette, oh, it is so good to see you. I missed all of you. Take good care, and I'll see you, some of you Saturday morning, the rest of you I hope to see Sunday. Take good care, everyone. Enjoy the warm weather if you're not in an area that's having bad storms. Sorry if you are, hon. All right, bye-bye, everyone. Mwah. Take good care. No slapping. Bye-bye, guys. You're the best.